Hi, this is Autohouse Hamilton TV, and I'm James. How many items of complex machinery do you buy and then think, you know, with just a little bit of effort, this thing could be made heaps better? You don't do this with your fridge, your TV, with power tools, your mobile phone, or pretty much any other device you own. And yet, there are companies who will offer to greatly improve your car by providing an off-the-shelf plug-in tune with big promises. What gives? Title sequence goes here. Car manufacturers spend an awful lot of time in R&D to come up with a map to run your car's engine. It's a matrix of if this, then do that statements. So if the engine temperature is this, and the human's foot is this far down on the accelerator, and the current RPM is this value, then open the injectors for so many milliseconds and advance the timing this many degrees. When creating this map, engineers compromise around three main criteria: fuel economy, which translates to emissions; performance, which is the one everybody gets excited about; and vehicle reliability, or engine longevity. If you want more performance, then you need to give away some longevity and some fuel economy. If you want more fuel economy, then you can't have as much performance. These things are all fairly straightforward trade-offs. Of course, we know that none of these limitations apply to diesel-powered VWs, which use loopholes in reality to achieve their fuel consumption figures. The extent to which a chip tuner can improve a car's performance comes down to this: how much untapped performance did the manufacturer leave just lying around waiting to be discovered? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, not very much. To believe that a small independent firm can find just oodles of power waiting to be released with no downside is just simply not realistic. To believe that they can do this and achieve better fuel economy goes beyond unrealistic and stretches credibility completely. With a drive-by-wire throttle, one of the ways in which a chip tune can seem to achieve greater performance is to remap the throttle opening so that a given amount of throttle input yields a greater throttle valve opening. This will certainly make the car feel more responsive, but the car is not making any more power. You're just accessing more of the power that the car has been making all along. In truth, most off-the-shelf tunes are pure snake oil. Some may achieve a modest increase in power, remember the trade-offs I mentioned earlier, which is unlikely to change the driving experience. Now, I need to be clear here on some points. Firstly, whatever car you have, it can be made to go faster. Secondly, tuning a car electronically can make it go faster, perhaps. And thirdly, turbocharged cars, where the performance of the turbo is computer controlled, may benefit the most from an electronic tune. The problem for the consumer, that's you, is sifting through the enormous claims to try and find some that may have merit. Here are some claims I found on tuner chip websites. Higher performance combined with fuel savings. You'll benefit from both. No compromises. Up to plus 30% power and torque. Up to 15% fuel saving. Or another one that promises to increase power by up to 25% and torque by up to 35%. It's a bit like shooting fish in a barrel. You can spend as long as you want finding large claims, all of which have the Weasley get-out clause of up to. Remember, 0 is part of up to 15%. Another thing I found with off-the-shelf tuner claims is that very few provide any kind of documented result, but instead publish user testimonials. We'll give the companies the benefit of the doubt and allow for them to be honest testimonials, but there are two important points to note. Firstly, user testimonials, however honestly provided, are worthless. People who have spent money looking for a particular performance increase are likely to see that performance increase, whether it's there or not. This is called confirmation bias. Part of this is that the but dyno is both inaccurate and very, very optimistic. If a company has not provided any dyno sheet, that's a sure sign they're peddling snake oil. And if you still think that a performance tune without a dyno sheet is likely to be a worthwhile spend, I have a bridge you may be interested in buying. Where a company does provide a dyno sheet, read it critically. Look at where the power is coming in. If it's producing a very small power increase at the very top of the rev range, there's two things to bear in mind. First is, you're not likely to be spending very much time at the very top of the rev range unless you're using the car on track. And if you're using the car on track, you probably aren't that interested in an off-the-shelf tune anyway. And the second is, I've forgotten what the second was. And the second is, when you're looking for increased speed, you need to have an enormous amount of power in order to increase a relatively small increase in top speed. Finally, ask yourself what it is that you want to achieve. If all you want is the bragging rights, here's a hot tip. Don't spend the money on a chip tune, but tell all your mates that you did, and tell them that since you've installed the chip tune, your car now makes 11 bajillion horsepower. The good news is nobody will know any better. The bad news is nobody will really care either. If you're looking for better lap times, you probably already know that in order to achieve a significant power increase, you also need to achieve a significant wallet decrease because power costs. You probably also know that paying attention to brake and suspension setup is at least as important for improving your lap times. And you also know that probably the most effective way to achieve better lap times is to look at performance upgrades that are easily transferable from vehicle to vehicle. That's right, I'm talking about making changes to the nut that holds the steering wheel. I'm talking about driver training. As ever, thank you very much for watching. Start again. Car manufacturers, let's start again.